MRCTV's Scheiner and Hughes break down the bias on Newsmax. And there is definitely media bias. I mean, the whole reason why Republicans are some people blame Republicans for the shutdown is because the mainstream media is helping them and lying to the people, telling them that the Republicans are to blame when really it's the Democrats. It's the Democrats that are holding the government hostage just so they can give health care to illegal immigrants who don't even supposed to be in this country in the first place. It's ridiculous how bad the mainstream media capes for the Democrat Party. They're basically propagandists for the Democrat Party. So we're going to talk about it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. There you'll find a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, let's get right to this clip here. Here we go.
Let's bring in our panel to discuss all of this. Managing editor of MRCTV, Brittany Hughes, and senior director of MRCTV, Eric Scheiner. Hey guys, Brittany, you first. The Democrats are gleeful about hurting Americans to win over their kook fringe base. Listen.
Ridiculous.
If you're listening to the mainstream media, 87% of coverage for the Democrats has been positive during the shutdown. So they look at this, they think they're winning. Schumer thinks every day that passes is better for him. The minority whip talks about having leverage, and they don't really have the incentive now, right? They look at the margins that they won in Virginia, where lots of angry government employees turned out to vote for Spanberger, and they think, I don't want to give this up. At the same time, Axios is reporting that House Democrats are putting tremendous pressure on Senate Democrats not to cave, not to compromise, or they will have, quote unquote, hell to pay. So I don't think Democrats are in a position where they are interested in negotiating based on everything that's being reported.
No, they want this shutdown.
And they're living in their echo chamber.
The Democrats want this shutdown to go on for as long as they can because they're using it as leverage, as exciting their base for some reason. I mean, and I don't want to call people dumb. So let's just say they're not aware of how they're being played. People aren't aware they're being played by the Democrat Party.
The biased press gave them a lot of cover for doing what they always said was so irresponsible, shutting down the government. Quite something to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think this just underscores how much of a part media bias plays in these kinds of things, right? This is a simple math game. There are 52 Republicans that have been lined up to support a bill that would have fully funded the government, including things like SNAP, including paying the military, air traffic controllers, etc. And they have done so now 14 times, and Democrats have continued to vote no. So again, this is a simple math game. If you want to see who the holdouts here, it's very simple. It's the Democrats refusing to play ball by supporting a clean CR. This is something that Republicans did under the Biden administration and did so a dozen times. And so I think, of course, when it's the Republicans who are, accused of shutting down the government, then of course everything is always their fault, and we see that from the media. But when it's the Democrats, there is so much cover provided, and I think that
Yes.
bias is really what you're seeing here.
It's sycophantic.
Yes, and nobody accused the biased press of being able to do math either. Eric, The View reacting to a Democrat who wished death upon Republicans and their children getting elected in Virginia. Watch.
In Virginia, they had a guy, Jay Jones, running for attorney general, who just a few weeks ago, it was these texts that he had sent fantasizing about killing a political opponent had resurfaced. I mean, this guy was a bad candidate.
Notice that she doesn't say "and his children." And his children. She didn't even bring that part up.
And even that bad Democratic candidate won by 6 points.
Yeah.
So that tells me that this was a resounding rejection of Donald Trump's
And the
second
Republican
term.
Party.
Yeah. Your reaction, Eric?
Oh, man, the only thing that's more false than that statement on The View is probably the color of Joy Behar's hair. Look, when Trump wins all the battleground states and wins the popular vote. You know, he doesn't have a mandate. The View is sure of this. And let's face it, the media covered for Jay Jones, and The View was among them.
Yep.
The View tried to make Jay Jones look like a Republican. And then when they were corrected, when Joy Behar was corrected on the show, they said, well, only Democrats denounced him, not Republicans. No, it was the other way around. Not a single Democrat asked him to step out of the race. And the media on the whole bought into this coverage of, you know, protecting Jay Jones. NBC was the only one to cover it in the month of October. Here, the president says this guy should step down from the race in the month of October. Do you think that would get some coverage? Mm-hmm. No. NBC only covers it for 63 seconds because they have someone from the Trump administration on. CBS, ABC, PBS, no coverage, no mention.
Wow. Well, then there was ABC fake news reflecting the vast majority of leftists and their indifference to Christian genocide in Nigeria. Watch.
The Nigerian president doesn't deny the horrific, deadly violence in the country, but is refuting Trump's claims, saying, quote,
and it sickens me that the mainstream media is downplaying the genocide that's happening. They're killing Christians all over the world, particularly Nigeria, and the mainstream media said, well, they're just not killing Christians. There's some Muslims that's being killed too. Like, it's overwhelmingly Christians they're killing. And they're pretending like it's not like that's not a fact. It's a sickening, man. It's a disease. The mainstream media is full of TDS.
The characterization of Nigeria as religiously intolerant does not reflect our national reality. Officials say the terrorists are attacking Nigerians broadly, regardless of religion.
Wow, whole other level of gaslighting there, in my opinion. No, it's only Christians, right? ABC fake news. Brittany, unreal, isn't it?
This is the same media that when Israel defends itself against a horrific attack on October 7th, all of a sudden they are accused of perpetrating genocide against Gazans just because Hamas is using children as human shields. And yet when it's Christians being slaughtered for their faith by the tens of thousands, I will remind everyone, that is suddenly there's nothing to see here and we just get crickets. Over 125,000 Nigerian Christians have been systematically slaughtered since 2009. This is not new. This is something that religious groups have, Christian groups have been screaming about now for years. Franklin Graham has tried to bring attention to this crisis. This is something that pastors and Christians on the ground in Nigeria have been calling out and crying out for. Torches, Christian churches are being torched, villages are being burned to the ground, Christian schools are being targeted. Over 2,200 Christian schools have been ransacked and destroyed. But there's nothing to see here because, again, you cannot criticize the religion of peace. These are Islamic militants who are targeting Christians, and the media doesn't want to talk about that because it goes against their narrative. So again, we get crickets because it's Christians being slaughtered this time.
And only the president wants to talk about it. And Eric, last thing, then there's Sydney Sweeney, the lovely and talented Sydney Sweeney, and that fabulous, magnificent, inspired, might I say, jeans ad. Here's a woke reporter trying to shame Sydney Sweeney into apologizing. Watch.
The criticism of the content, which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like that was kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. And since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
The risk is that, you know, there's a chance that somebody will get some idea about what you think about certain issues and feel like I don't want to see Christy because of that. Like, do you worry about that?
No.
Nobody does, except for leftists.
Now, look, Eric, I'm not sure how you feel about it, but I say Sweeney has nothing, and I mean nothing, to apologize for.
Absolutely.
What do you say?
Nothing to apologize.
Oh, man, I agree. In fact, you can see it in her eyes as she's looking at this reporter. She's just staring like, really, you're going to go here with this? This is really where you want to go? This is where the leftist media goes with this. Even Newsweek isn't happy with this interview. They say, you know, she's getting backlash because she didn't really respond to her ad that focused on racism and eugenics. It's really funny to me that the media can find racism and eugenics in an ad for jeans. But when they talk about Planned Parenthood, they can't find racism and they can't find eugenics in that history. They can't mention it. They can't bring it up.
Oh man, I love that point he just made. I love that they can find eugenics and stuff in some jeans and an ad for jeans, but when it comes for Margaret Sanger and her Planned Parenthood, where they're murdering millions of black children, and that they're fine with that. There's no eugenics in that. No, that was the old Planned Parenthood. We kill people. We kill black children to help the economy now. It's not because they're black. Like, I mean, it's sickening. These people are sick.
In that context, but oh my goodness, we have a jeans ad, and you're not apologizing like we would like you to on the left. Well, we're very upset about that.
Sydney Sweeney, you have nothing to apologize for. Brittany Hughes, Eric Scheiner, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate the analysis.
Love that interview. I love that interview. Shout out MRCTV. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this and the media bias. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.